Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to continue with the second chapter of history of class 9, and this is the fifth video. Earlier we have already done 4 videos on this particular lesson, and the name of the lesson is Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. And this is the fifth video. As I told you just now, you can check out the earlier videos in the playlist that is given in the list in the channel, and you can clear your doubts and you can refresh your memory about the revolution, how it had unfolded and how the people got involved with the revolution. Today we are going to study topic number 3.2, the revolution of October 1917. As you would remember, in the last video we already talked how the revolution had unfolded, and by the year 1917 the revolution had become quite big. As the conflict between the provisional government, that is the temporary government, and the Bolsheviks, the people those were led by Vladimir Lenin, Lenin feared that the provisional government would set up a dictatorship. That means they would control, they would take the power in their own hands and be dictators. They would not listen to the demands of the workers and the common people of Russia. In September, Lenin began discussions for an uprising against the government. He wanted to take this government down, and Bolshevik supporters in the army were also there, and Soviets were also there, and factories were also there. They all were brought together under one umbrella or under one organization, and they tried to go against the dictatorship or against the government that Lenin feared would happen very soon. On 16th October 1917, Lenin persuaded and this Petrograd Soviet, that is the group of the members of the Petrograd Soviet, and the Bolshevik party also, to agree on a socialist seizure of power. They would seize the power, take by force, and it will be a socialistic way of seizure of power. So a military revolutionary committee, another committee or a group, was appointed by the Soviet, that is the Petrograd Soviet, under Leon Trotsky. And Leon Trotsky was given the main responsibility of the Military Revolutionary Committee to organize the seizure. The date of the event was kept a secret so that nobody would know that when the people would go against the government and when they would strike against the government. So the uprising began on 24th October, and sensing trouble, Prime Minister Kerensky had left the city to summon the troops or the army. At dawn, early in the morning, the military men loyal to the government seized the buildings of 2 Bolshevik newspapers. They went, and before the Bolsheviks could attack or before the military revolutionary committee could do anything, the government, those were military men loyal to the government, they seized the government of the Bolshevik buildings of the Bolshevik newspaper. The pro-government troops were sent to take over the telephone and the telegraph offices also and protect the Winter Palace. So before they could do anything, the government had reacted and they tried to take over the power. In a swift response, however, the Military Revolutionary Committee, which was already planning to fight against the dictatorship government, that ordered its supporters to seize the government offices and arrest the ministers and take under their custody. Late in the day, another one incident happened. A ship, the name of the ship was the Aurora, was called, and it shell means it threw bombs and heavy artillery and attacked the Winter Palace, as the ship could easily enter the city through the river Neva, by the river Neva. Other vessels and other such ships were also sailing down the Neva river and took over various military points, and there was a scene of battlefield or a war. By nightfall, the city was completely under the committee's control, that is the Military Revolutionary Committee, and the ministers had all surrendered. At a meeting of the All Russian Congress of Soviets in Petrograd, the majority approved that yes, the Bolshevik were powerful and the Bolshevik action was correct. Uprisings took place in other cities also, and there was heavy fighting, especially in the city of Moscow. But by December, the Bolsheviks controlled the Moscow Petrograd area, and the Bolsheviks became so powerful by the end of the December, like October it started, then November, and then December, the Bolsheviks controlled the Moscow Petrograd area. These are some important dates you must remember, and you can see here all these things are very important for your examination. And this is the picture here, box number 2 is given here. One important thing is given that Russia followed the earlier Julian calendar until 1st February 1918, and later on the country changed the calendar to Gregorian calendar, which is followed everywhere. Now also we are following that. The Gregorian dates are 13 days ahead of the Julian dates. So by our calendar, if you see, the February revolution actually took place on 12th March and the October revolution took place on 7th November. So this is one important trivia that you should know. And this is how the years are given: the beginning of collectivization, the formation of the different groups, and the civil war, etc. And here another picture you can find: Lenin and Trotsky are there. This is the first one, Lenin, and the second one is the picture of Trotsky and how they were involved with the people in the war. Now let us proceed to unit number 4. What changed after the month of October? What changed after October Revolution? Did their people of the Bolshevik party completely take over? Let's see about that also. The Bolsheviks were totally opposed to private property. They did not like that private property should be concentrated in the hands of only few selected rich people. Most industry and banks were nationalized. They were under the government, and it was nationalized in the sense that, like, we have the banks, different banks in our country also, which are nationalized, like the State Bank and all. So these banks were nationalized in November 1917, and this meant that the government took over ownership and the management of the industry and also the banks also. The land was declared social property. It was not any private property, but it belonged to the people, and peasants were allowed to seize the land of the nobility. Peasants got the power that if they want to forcefully seize or take the land of the nobility, it is not a crime. They were allowed to do so. In various cities and towns, Bolsheviks enforced the partition of the large houses according to the family requirements. If there are more people and less number of if there are more such kind of homes, and if there are more such kind of rooms, and families are small, then they can even take the large houses and they can take and give it to some other people, those who needed houses. They banned the use of the old titles, and different kinds of titles were there of aristocracy, like sir, and all these different kinds of landowners, and all these were titles were there. These all were completely stopped and they were completely banned. To assert the change, new uniforms were also designed for the army and officials. Following a clothing competition was organized in the year 1918, and there you can see this picture, this Soviet hat this soldier is wearing. The name is also given, and this is actually a new hat that was designed and it was selected, and the name is also, let me pronounce it, Budyunovka. Budyunovka is the name of that particular cap or hat of the soldier. So this is the Soviet hat. Now the Bolshevik party was renamed the Russian Communist Party, that is Bolshevik. In November 1917, the Bolsheviks conducted the elections to the Constituent Assembly, but however they failed to gain majority support. So the Bolsheviks did all they could, but they could not gain the majority. In January 1918, the assembly rejected the Bolshevik measures and Lenin dismissed the assembly. So here we come to know that the Constituent Assembly members said that whatever proposals are from Lenin and Bolshevik, these will not be accepted, and Lenin in anger dismissed the assembly and he would no longer be a part of the Constituent Assembly. He thought that the All Russian Congress of Soviets was more democratic than an assembly elected in uncertain conditions. So if there is an all Russian Congress of Soviet, it would be more democratic. But if you directly elect an assembly under only certain groups or like certain conditions, it would not be so much stable or democratic. In March 1918, despite opposition by the political allies or the partners, the Bolsheviks made peace with Germany at Litovsk. So it is the name of a city, and in the years that followed, the Bolsheviks became the only party to participate in the elections to the All Russian Congress of Soviets, which became later on the parliament of the country. And here we come to know that as they were near Germany, and they made peace with that, and finally we came to know that Russia became a one-party state. Only one party was the most dominant party. Trade unions were not kept like open, they were kept under party control, and the secret police called the Cheka earlier, and later on they were named as OGPU and NKVD, they punished those who criticized the Bolsheviks. Those who are against the Bolsheviks party, the political party, they were criticized, and they were like, yes, criticism they cannot do, and they were punished by the secret police, and they were even sent out of the country and sometimes killed also. Many young writers and artists rallied to the party because they came and supported the party because it stood for socialism and for a new change. After October 1917, this led to experiments in the arts and also architecture. So different types of designs of building and the arts and all this became very, very popular. But many became disillusionized, or they had a misunderstanding, misconception because of the censorship that the party encouraged. However, there was a kind of demerit that the party did, and the party encouraged censorship. That means they could not do anything, cannot say anything against the government. There is a picture you could see, that is the May Day, and in box number 3 you can find here the October Revolution and the Russian countryside. Two views were there. You can just read it for your better understanding. You can try to understand what happened during the time. And next topic is 4.1, the Civil War, and what happened during that Civil War, and how the war unfolded, and how the Bolsheviks were at the main cause of this kind of war. And this is what we are going to read. But today I think we should stop it here, and you should try to revise what you learned today. You can go back and watch the video one more time so that you can understand what are the things that were told there. And as I told you earlier also, that video that you got little while ago, this video, there was a picture, and this picture you can see carefully. So thank you. Bye.